Imagine this. You are walking down a familiar street. The sky is quiet. Everything seems calm. Then suddenly a stranger turns to you and utters a sentence that cuts your heart like a knife. Maybe they mock your appearance. Maybe they belittle your worth. Maybe they trample on what you've spent years building. What do most people do? They explode. They argue back. They let anger guide every word. But the very moment you react, you have already lost. You just handed over your power, placing it on a silver platter for them to enjoy. Machiavelli warned 500 years ago, the one who lets insults control their emotions loses the battle before it even begins. There is another path, a cold state, where no one can shake you. Insults slide off you like water off stone. You become mysterious, cold, unpredictable, and it is that calmness that plants in others a fear deeper than rage. This is the dark law of being untouchable. And today you will learn 10 ruthless laws to step into that realm where silence turns into a weapon and composure turns into a throne. Before we go deeper, make a vow right now. I am untouchable. If you don't dare to write it, you will never dare to live it. Because in the next few minutes, you will encounter law number 1, the shield that ensures you will never again be caught off guard by contempt. Law 1, expect disrespect before it arrives. Imagine you are about to walk into an important meeting. You believe everyone will be fair, polite, and play by the rules. But then someone throws a sarcastic remark straight at you. Someone diminishes you in front of the entire room. You freeze. You lose your composure. And in that moment, you have fallen right into the trap. Most people live with the expectation, everyone will be kind to me. But Machiavelli understood a cold truth. Disrespect is not an accident. It is a strategy. Others use contempt to test you, to see if you're easily shaken, to find an emotional trigger that makes you react instantly. Every time you react, you draw a map of your weaknesses on the ground. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." The wise prepare for contempt before it arrives. The fool shatters every time it appears unexpectedly. If tomorrow someone disrespects you in front of a crowd, will you tremble or will you calmly smile? Write your answer below to see where you truly stand. Remember, life is like a dangerous street. If you walk believing everyone will treat me well, you will always be shocked when darkness appears. But if you are prepared in advance, you walk with awareness. You are not surprised. You are not broken. How many times have you been disappointed simply because you expected others to treat you kindly? How many times have you cried out, "How dare they do this to me?" The answer is because you allowed it, because you lowered your guard. From this moment on, carve one assumption into your mind. Anyone can disrespect. Anyone can betray. Anyone can envy, not to make you bitter, but to make you unshakable. When you expect betrayal, you are no longer shocked. When you anticipate envy, you are no longer hurt. And when you prepare for contempt, you become untouchable. When was the last time you were disrespected? How did you react? Comment below not to complain, but to remind yourself you are not alone. This is not pessimism. This is strategy. When every insult is already predicted, it loses its weight. They cannot shake you because you have already counted every move. From now on, walk with this mindset. I expect jealousy. I expect mockery. I am ready for betrayal. And when it comes, I simply smile because I saw it coming. Comment this vow. I expect nothing. I am ready for everything. That will be your first oath on the path to becoming cold and untouchable. And if you think silence is just weakness, wait for law number 2. Because silence itself is the deadliest strike Machiavelli ever used to make others destroy themselves. Law 2, master the art of silence. You have already prepared yourself not to expect kindness from anyone. But there is still a weapon more dangerous than any rebuttal. That weapon is silence. Picture this. Someone tries to humiliate you in front of a crowd. They throw out a mocking jab, a sarcastic line. All eyes immediately turn to you, waiting for your reaction. What do most people do? They snap back. They defend themselves. They shout to prove they are not weak. But you don't. You sit still. You look straight at them, and you say nothing. Would you dare to try it? When mocked in front of a crowd, Do you stay silent, or do you feel the need to strike back immediately? Comment honestly below. No words, no reaction, only a heavy silence. That silence begins to weigh on the room. The other person grows uneasy. Questions echo in their mind. Did my words have no effect? What is he thinking? Or is he preparing a deadlier strike? In that moment, you have already won. No shouting required, no proof needed. You win with silence. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." And cold silence is the shortest path to planting fear and respect in others. But be careful. There are two kinds of silence. One is the silence of the weak, mute because they have nothing to say. That kind exposes helplessness. The other is the silence of the strong, intentional silence. It does not scream weakness. It whispers power. What do you think is silence? Strength or weakness? I want to see your real perspective in the comments below. Remember Steve Jobs? In many meetings, he was harshly challenged. But instead of reacting right away, he sat still, letting silence press down on the entire room. When he finally spoke, everyone had already surrendered. That silence was not escape. It was an invisible wall. It made opponents bend themselves before you had to do anything. How many times in your life have you seen silence make others more restless than words? How many times have you noticed silence make them doubt themselves? Write down one such moment below and carve this into your mind. Silence is not retreat. Silence is the declaration that you are stronger than any word. But if inside you still explode with emotion, if your eyes still reveal your anger, you have already lost. Others don't need your words. They only need to see how your emotions betray you. And that is why you must step into law number 3. The law of those who feel everything but never reveal anything. Law 3. Never let emotions betray you. You have seen the power of silence. But if that silence trembles, if your eyes turn red, if your voice cracks, then others will still know you have lost. Because nothing betrays a person faster than their own emotions. Imagine you are standing before a crowd. Someone attacks you. You stay silent, but your hands shake. Your heart races. Your breath turns heavy. It all shows and they see it. They smirk. In that moment, you have exposed your weakness. Machiavelli once said, "Love and fear seldom dwell together. If you must choose, it is safer to be feared. To be respected and feared, you must master yourself so completely that no one can guess what you feel. Among the 3 emotions, anger, anxiety, sadness, which one controls you most easily? Write it below and you will see you are not alone. The amateur lets emotions dictate their actions. They scream, they justify, they weep. The master is different. They feel everything but reveal nothing. They burn inside, but outside they are still like a calm lake. Remember Muhammad Ali? He was mocked, humiliated, but he smiled. He joked. He turned his opponent's mind games into entertainment. Then when the fight began, it was that composure that made his punch lethal. Ali never let his emotions betray him. He turned emotions into fuel, not chains. Have you ever met someone so calm that you could not guess what they were thinking? Write it below. Did that mystery make you cautious? You can train that too. Treat emotions as signals, not commands. When anger rises, pause. Imagine you are the audience watching yourself on stage. Do you want that character to scream or to walk with powerful calm? Every time you reveal emotions out of control, you hand over a map of your weaknesses. They know which button to press to make you explode. But if you conceal everything, you become a mystery. And mystery is always the most frightening. Remind yourself, I feel everything, but I reveal nothing. Because the one who lets emotions betray them is the one who stabs themselves first. And there's a weapon even stronger than silence and emotional control. The ability to flip the entire game. If you don't want to play by their rules, you must force them into yours. And that is law number 4. Law 4, control the frame. You have seen how emotions can betray a person. But there is a trap even more subtle, even more dangerous. It is when you don't control the story, but are forced to play inside someone else's frame. Imagine this. Someone says to you, "You're not good enough for this job." What is the natural reaction from most people? They rush to prove themselves. They list their achievements. They justify. But in that very moment, you have accepted the frame they built. You admitted their words were important enough to make you react. The weak defend. The strong don't need to. The wise control the frame of the game itself. How many times have you been dragged into arguments just to prove you're right, yet still ended up feeling you lost? Share it below so you'll see you are not alone. Machiavelli once wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few truly understand what you are. They have budded to world." That gap is where the one who controls the frame defines everything. Remember Elon Musk? When pressed with hostile interview questions, he didn't scramble to defend himself. He smiled, shifted the story, and forced the frame of attack to become his own frame. The interviewer wanted him on the defensive, but in the end, they were pulled into his rhythm. Have you ever been dragged into a debate where you won the logic but lost the power? Comment yes if you have lived that. The one who controls the frame doesn't lower themselves to respond to every detail. They may simply smile and say that's an interesting opinion, or just smirk and move on. In that moment, they prove the attack was never important enough to touch them. Never forget, every time you justify yourself, you admit their judgment matters more than your strength. But when you control the frame, you turn them into the one force to chase you. The world does not belong to the best defender. The world belongs to the one who sets the rules of the game. If tomorrow someone attacks you, will you react or will you hold the frame silent, letting them sink on their own? Write your answer. From today on, remember this. No one has the right to define you but yourself. No insult deserves your wasted energy in defense. Hold the frame. Force others to play your game. And then you will realize the most dangerous person is not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who simply smiles and shifts the entire battle. But even if you control the frame, there is still a subtler chain binding you, not from others, but from your own need for praise or criticism. Until you break free from it, you are not truly free. And that is law number 5. Law 5, detach from opinions. You have learned how to hold the frame, not letting anyone force you into defense. But there is still a subtler, tighter chain. It is the need to live under the eyes of others. Think about the last time you were praised. A compliment, a nod of recognition. You felt happy, didn't you? Now, think about the last time you were criticized. A harsh remark, a look of disdain. You felt bitter, didn't you? Two emotions that seem opposite but in truth are the same. Both joy and sorrow prove one thing. You are controlled. You are dependent on them. You are no longer the master of yourself. Are you living just to seek validation? How many times have you checked your phone just waiting for a like? Write it below and face yourself honestly. Machiavelli once reminded, the power of a leader lies not in the crowd, but in those he chooses to stand beside him. The misguided opinions of the masses hold no value. Only the voices of the truly wise are worth your ear. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, carved into his meditations, do not let praise lift you up. Do not let criticism tear you down. He understood this. The one who lives by praise will die by criticism. Ask yourself, how many times have you posted something just to hope someone would like it? How many times has your heart collapsed from a single small insult? If tomorrow the whole world went silent, no praise, no criticism, would you still do what you are doing? Answer honestly. The strong are different. They can smile at praise, but they don't need it to live. They can listen to criticism, but they don't let it define them. They turn both praise and blame into data, not commandments. Try 1 week without seeking validation. Don't ask if your work is good. Don't check likes. Don't hope for someone to say you're enough. Just observe. Just focus on your work. You will see how free you become. Do you dare to try this challenge? 1 week without likes, without praise. If you dare comment, I owe myself. Because when you don't need praise to live, you don't fear criticism will kill you. You stand firm on the foundation of discipline and principle. You become free, and that freedom is the highest form of power. Carve this into your mind. The one who lives by validation will die by rejection, but the one who stands firmly on their own feet cannot be toppled. Yet this power will not last if you don't turn it into habit. You need a system, a way to train yourself to remain unshakable over time. And that is the secret of law number 6. Law 6, reward control, punish reaction. You have seen the power that comes from breaking free of others' validation. But that freedom doesn't arrive overnight. If you don't train daily, your mind will easily fall back into the old trap. To truly master yourself, you must train like a warrior forging steel, know how to reward discipline, and know how to punish weakness. Imagine a young fighter. In every training session, his coach doesn't just teach punches or dodges. He teaches him how to control his anger if he stays calm under provocation. The coach rewards him with an hour of rest. If he loses control, the coach makes him run dozens of laps. That is the art of training the mind with a system of reward and punishment. If every time you lost your temper, you had to run 10 laps, would you still lose control so easily? Write your answer below. Humans learn fastest through consequences. When calmness brings reward, the brain will want to repeat it. When rash reactions bring punishment, the brain will avoid them. You can apply this principle to yourself. Every time you overcome a situation where once you would have exploded, reward yourself with something small. A cup of coffee, a favorite song, a short break. And every time you lose control, punish yourself. An extra workout, turning off your phone early, cutting off a small pleasure. If you had to punish yourself every time you lost control, what punishment would make you remember it for life? Share it so others can learn from you. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men are more easily led by the things that seem to be in their immediate interest than by what is far off." So don't rely on vague willpower. Build a mechanism to lead yourself. This is not meaningless harshness. This is the art of governing yourself. You no longer live at the mercy of impulses. You create a system that makes discipline instinct. Ask yourself, if every time you got angry, you were forced to work twice as hard, would you still want to lose your temper? If every time you stayed calm, you were properly rewarded, wouldn't you want to cultivate that calm even more? What will you reward yourself with for discipline? Write it down so it becomes a commitment to yourself. Gradually, you'll see something strange. Staying calm no longer feels like a challenge. It becomes reflex. You don't need to force it. Your brain is programmed to choose composure. And then you become the kind of person who, no matter how chaotic the world is, your heartbeat stays steady. Others explode. You stay silent. You observe. You choose your next move. That is real power. But the world out there won't stop at provocation. Others will use every trick to test you. And when that happens, you must learn another art, the art of indifference. That is law number 7. Law 7, indifference. You have begun to train composure through reward and discipline. But there is still a colder weapon. A weapon that makes your opponent choke on their own breath. That weapon is indifference. Indifference is not weakness. Indifference is a declaration. You don't matter. Picture this. Someone stands right in front of you, shouting in your ear, trying to provoke you. They expect you to react. They expect you to scream, to justify, to dive into argument. But you do nothing. Your eyes are empty. Your voice is silent. Your presence cold as ice. Would you dare to try it? When someone tries to provoke you, instead of reacting, would you look at them as if they don't even exist? Write yes if you've done it, or no if you never have. They wait for your anger. It doesn't come. They wait for your pain. It doesn't come. They wait for a signal proving they have power over you. But all they find is empty silence, and then they collapse into themselves. Nothing wounds the ego deeper than the realization, I don't matter. Machiavelli once wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves." To survive, one must be both lion and fox. The lion uses strength. The fox uses cunning. And indifference is a fox's trick. It makes every trap meaningless because you never step into it. Who in your life once wanted you to react, but you stayed cold and indifferent? Write it below. That is proof you were stronger than them. Think of the truly powerful people you've met. They don't need to shout. They don't need to prove. They don't need to care what the world thinks. And it is precisely that indifference that draws others to them. Indifference is a suffocating weapon. When you don't react, the opponent collapses. When you don't care, the other despairs. But indifference is only half the power. Because when others attack you, they don't just throw a word at you, they also throw energy. If you let that energy burn you, you are still defeated. And that is why you must step into law number 8. Transform negative energy itself into fuel that builds your power. Law 8, redirect energy. You have learned how indifference makes others suffocate. But there's a higher art, turning the very attack into fuel. Instead of letting it burn you, use it to forge steel. Imagine this. Someone mocks you in the middle of a crowd. They throw toxic energy at you, hoping it will destroy you. The weak let those words cling to them, losing sleep, haunted until exhausted. But the wise are different. They gather that energy and redirect it into building their own strength. When someone once humiliated you, did you use that pain to rise or to consume yourself? Write your honest answer below. Remember, every insult is a burning coal. The weak let it scorch their skin. The strong throw it into the forge, melting steel to create weapons. Look at Napoleon. All his life, he was mocked for his short stature. But he didn't let that insecurity kill him. He turned it into energy to expand an empire that made all of Europe tremble. Others saw a flaw. He turned it into leverage. Who once told you that you were not good enough? Would you use that very phrase as the engine to push yourself further? If yes, comment, fuel to power. This is the height of wisdom. No reaction, no argument. You simply take what others throw at you and turn it into steps to climb higher. Ask yourself, each time you are disrespected, what lesson can you learn? Each time you are mocked, how can you turn it into strength? Write down one example right now, a criticism that once hurt you, and how you will turn it into fuel for action after today. When you are indifferent to attacks, others despair. When you redirect that energy, you turn them into free trainers. They give you motivation, and you use it to rise above them. But there is still a more dangerous trap. Not the insults, but the whisper in your heart. You must take revenge. You must strike back. You must prove your strength right now. That is the trap of pride. And to escape it, you need law number 9, the art of cold calculation. Law 9, cold calculation. You have learned indifference. You have learned to turn attacks into fuel. But there is still a subtler trap than all the rest. Pride. Pride whispers in your ear. Take revenge now. Prove your strength. Teach them a lesson. And it is in that very moment that you can easily lose your power. Imagine this. Someone insults you in public. Everyone is staring. Every instinct in you screams, strike back right now. But Machiavelli understood not every battle is worth fighting. Not every battlefield deserves your presence. When was the last time you argued just to protect your pride? And in the end, realize you lost more than you gained. Write it below to remind yourself. Some battles bring benefit, but others only steal your time, your energy, and pull you away from greatness. The weak let emotions decide when to fight. The strong calculate. Machiavelli once said, "No enterprise is more likely to succeed than one concealed from the enemy until it is ripe for execution." And he also knew not every danger is worth facing. Many who insult you do so only to drag you into the mud. If you jump in, you have already lost. Think of true leaders. They don't answer every petty criticism. They don't waste energy on the nameless. They choose the battles that matter. And when they strike, they do it coldly without emotion, focused only on the objective. If tomorrow someone insults you, will you react immediately, or will you ask yourself, does this bring me closer to my goal? Write your honest answer below. Imagine you are a chess player. If you react to every small move, you will be led by the board. But if you calculate, you will ignore the pieces that don't matter, focusing only on the strategic move that wins the game. That is the essence of cold calculation. The hardest thing is not fighting. The hardest thing is knowing when not to fight. Your pride will scream, don't let them disrespect you. But you must coldly ask, if I react, what do I gain? If I stay silent, what do I lose? Does this battle move me forward? What do you think? What matters more, winning a small fight or keeping your power for the whole war? Comment so others can learn from you. The cold calculator knows that sometimes silence is the most ruthless revenge. Sometimes walking away, leaving them to rot in their own frustration, is more devastating than any counterattack. But when they do choose to strike, they strike with strategy, with timing, with maximum impact. Remember, pride makes you predictable, and predictable always lose. But when you calculate coldly, you become a mystery. No one knows when you will strike or if you will even care to. And it is that uncertainty that keeps others weary forever. From today on, build the habit of asking yourself 3 questions before reacting. 1. Does this help me reach my goal? 2. Does this protect something important? 3. Does this send the right message to others? If the answer to all 3 is no, then let it go. That is not weakness. That is strategy. Will you ask these 3 questions before reacting? If yes, comment, I choose strategy over pride. Because true power does not lie in avenging your ego. It lies in the ability to choose when to act and when to turn away. And if you master cold calculation, you will reach the final gate, the state of untouchability where no one can shake you. That is law number 10. Law 10, become untouchable. All the previous laws lead you to one destination, untouchability. Others can only hurt you when they find a door into your mind, when you cling to validation, when you depend on results, when you tie yourself to something outside of yourself and then they use it to control you. But when you reach detachment, you still love, but you are not weak because of love. You still desire, but you are not desperate because of desire. You still fight, but you do not collapse because of failure. In that state, you become untouchable. Machiavelli once wrote, "He who is highly esteemed is not easily conspired against." True respect only comes when you become the person no one can shake. If tomorrow someone provokes you, will you explode or will you stay silent and let them destroy themselves? Answer honestly. Picture this. Tomorrow, someone tries to humiliate you, but instead of losing control, you remember law number 2 and let silence become your wall. Next week, someone mocks you, but instead of being dragged in, you remember law number 5 and free yourself from the chains of praise and blame. Next month, someone tries to pull you into a petty game. You remember law number 9 and walk away with cold calculation. Step by step, law by law, you become untouchable. Not because you are numb, but because you are free. And now I want you to leave your final vow in the comments. I am cold. I am calm. I am untouchable. If you are truly ready to live as one who cannot be touched, write this. Don't just listen. Make it your commitment, because this is not the end. This is only the beginning. In the next video, I will show you the secret Machiavelli used to turn even his enemies into tools for his power. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe and hit the bell right now, because the real game has only just begun.